I do not want to see Nancy to come back as Speaker. I want the next Speaker to come from California. I just don't want it to be Nancy. I want it to be me.
Will Kevin McCarthy and the Republicans get that chance? The House set to leave town today for its annual late summer recess with a number of items still looming on the Hill. House Majority Whip Steve Scalise is with me, sir, and thanks for coming back. Good morning.
Good morning.
Great
to be back with you.
You've got a theme here called Better Off Now. Is that what you're selling before midterms?
Well, really, what we're talking about is how the economy is getting better and why the economy is getting better because of what we've done working with President Trump to cut taxes, to create jobs, to get all these crazy radical regulations that were killing jobs, to finally bring sanity to the regulation process, and to stand up for our men and women in uniform, to properly fund defense. We passed a resolution last week to stand up for our ICE agents. They're the people that are keeping our country safe from drug dealers and terrorists. And, of course, Democrats want to abolish ICE. They want to get rid of those people that are keeping our country safe, and they voted against cutting taxes. They actually want to raise taxes. So that's the contrast that we're going to be facing.
There is a contrast
November.
there. You're right about that. You're also pushing for tax reform 2.0. You say you'll vote on it in September. I don't think the Senate's going to take it up, and I guess you would have a message to sell to voters before midterms. What does 2.0 look like then?
Well, what it looks like is we cut taxes last year. It's working incredibly well. President Trump signed it into law right around Christmas. And look at all the jobs that we're seeing created. More people are actually looking for workers than there are people looking for jobs. So let's keep the economy moving. Some of those tax cuts are set to expire in a few years. What we're saying is it's working well. Let's make the tax cuts permanent. That's what Chairman Brady and his committee are working on and what we will vote on in September. We'll pass it out of the House. Frankly, a lot of those Democrats who voted no ought to now vote yes because families are seeing more money in their pockets. They're actually seeing raises from their employer. Let's lock that in, and the Senate ought to take it up and pass it as well.
I know you see it as a selling opportunity. We'll see how voters respond to that. But I saw something in this 2.0 universal savings accounts where an American can take up to $5,500 tax-free and use it for anything. Do I have that right?
Yeah, what we want to do is encourage more people to save, allow them to save more. Look at what we just passed on health savings accounts, where families are using this, by the way, more than twice the number of Americans use health savings accounts than are registered on Obamacare, and they've got that mandate with the failed Obamacare. Let's encourage more people to use health savings accounts, to invest in their 401k. We're going to bring up more bills like that to help give Americans more control of their money.
The retirement pile for so many Americans, it's not good enough for so many. And there's got to be a change there. So obviously you're seeing something on that as well.
We want to encourage more savings, and this will help more Americans have control of their money, not Washington.
Last topic. Impeachment proceedings, maybe they drop today in the House. If so, they're going to have to act fast. Do you support what some members of the conservative wing of the Republican in the House are doing?
If you look at what Mark Meadows and Jim Jordan and Devin Nunes have been doing, they've been fighting to get more information from the Justice Department. And frankly, it's mind-boggling that Justice won't comply. They ought to want to work with us to root out the bad apples. And if putting impeachment on the table as one more tool gets them to finally comply with the subpoenas from Congress, we need to make sure that they do their job and they comply and they show the American people exactly what's going on. People want to know. What is going on to root out the bad apples at the FBI? What are they doing to hold people accountable for what happened in this investigation that we've exposed? Let's get that information. All they need to do is turn over the documents, and everything will be fine.
So if this came up for a vote, you'd support them? You'd vote yes?
I would.
To impeach Rosenstein?
Well, right now, Rosenstein has not done his job in complying with Congress. What we're saying is, here is a tool that Congress still has. Go do your job and comply so we don't have to get to this. It's all up to him. If Rosenstein wants to comply and turn over the documents, we won't have this conversation. But if he's not going to do the job that he's required to do and comply with the subpoenas from Congress, there are other tools that we have to use.
Okay, last point on that. Do you expect a vote on this today? Or was it just
I'm not sure if there'll be a vote on this today, but clearly I think what you saw Meadows and others doing is putting one more tool on the table and saying, Rosenstein, it's time for you to actually comply with the final documents. They've given us some documents. They had a lot of redactions in some of those documents. We went back to them, but there's still some things that they have not done to comply with Congress. Okay. It's time for them to finish the job.
Steve Scalise, thank you. Come on back, okay? Plenty to talk about.
Always great to be with you.
You bet. From the Hill. Thanks.